Hi, I'm Dawn Watson, and this is Right Now on the East End. Today is Thursday, July 30th, and we are right in the middle of some exciting news this week. Top of mind, I want to talk about the latest COVID-19 numbers. We've got, let's see, according to data released by the East Hampton Star, the total cases in Suffolk County are now 42,972, with 80 new cases within this past week. So we are still flattening, but we still need to flatten a little bit more. Since the pandemic began, there have been just 231 cases, however, confirmed in East Hampton, and 1,099 in Southampton, 19 in Sag Harbor, and 9 on Shelter Island, 386 in Southold, however. So, we do have some work to be done, but we are doing what we can to flatten this curve and hope it will remain flattened. But that said, there are some new concerns now on the East End after this past weekend's Chain Smokers Drive-In concert, which has drawn flack far and wide. The Safe and Sound fundraiser, which also included performances by Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon and Southampton Town Supervisor Jay Schneiderman, has been on the receiving end of a lot of national outrage as after photos have surfaced on social media and in newspapers and blogs and such, showing crowds of people in the front of the stage who are not social distancing. It's been drawing ire from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and New York State Health Commissioner Dr. Howard Zucker. The Saturday night gig, it had been billed as a Safe and Sound concert, and it was supposed to be, Safe and Sound, right? Yes. I messed up already, but that's okay. It was supposed to set the bar for all events to come, according to the organizers. But of course, things kind of went awry. Although there were security at the event, there were a lot of people, obviously, we see mostly in masks, but some not, who were not socially distancing. So that's a problem. On Monday, the event organizers sent out a statement that said that they had followed all proper and current protocols, and they noted that the guests were repeatedly told that they could not leave their designated areas. They were spaced 6 feet apart, and they could not leave the area unless they had to use the bathroom. Obviously, though, that did not happen. There were people kind of all bunched up around the stage. For his part, Southampton Town Supervisor Jay Schneiderman said that when he was on the stage, because his band did perform during the beginning of the concert, he said when he was on the stage, he did not see that happening, but later in the evening it did. So on Tuesday, he actually sent a very strongly worded letter out to Governor Cuomo and to Mr. Solomon, Dr. Solomon, about the event. And basically it said that Southampton Town had issued a special permit, and it required compliance with all of the state and local health and social distancing protocols, and not met. Additionally, other precautionary measures that were sent out with this concert were mask distribution and the temperature taking of guests upon arrival, as well as safety monitoring by no fewer than 64 security personnel. So, difficult time for what should have been a great kind of coming together moment for people who wanted to hear the Chainsmokers and see this concert. But that's how it goes. Southampton Town Supervisor Schneiderman also said that the town is greatly disturbed at the violations. He said that the organizers have been cited and they will be held accountable, and that investigations are ongoing. So that's that. Other social distancing problems have been fortunately avoided at the East Hampton beaches. Thank goodness, because there are a lot of sunbathers and people seeking relief from the heat that have now been turned away due to high volume. I love this photo that ran in the East Hampton Star. It shows that several area beaches, they did an article this week that said that several area beaches, including Indian Wells, Atlantic Avenue, and Ditch Plain and Montauk, were briefly closed this past weekend due to for late arrivers as parking capacity had met its maximums. I love that shot by Doug Kuntz. Again, that's just a great photo. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry. If the pandemic won't keep overflowing crowds from the beaches, perhaps an apex predator will. That's a good segue, I think, maybe. According to Patch, there's a great white shark that is headed to Montauk. This shark named Miss May by the O-Search organization, which is a nonprofit organization that tracks the migrating patterns of sharks and other marine life. The 10-foot 2-inch subadult is on her way north from Atlantic City, and her migrating path likely has her passing by the shores of Montauk sometime within the next few days. Looks like if we're looking at the migrating patterns of late, she is heading up to Cape Cod for the rest of the summer. So be aware of that. There have been a lot of shark sightings in Long Island already in the past few weeks. So it's just something to look forward to, but look out for. Something that is interesting, though, because we all say, oh my gosh, there's a shark and what are we going to do? And this is scary. And, you know, I don't know about you, but I grew up as a child and I watched Jaws and was terrified of going into the ocean for such a long time. But according to experts, sharks are at risk worldwide due to overfishing, and they're not only vital for the healthy ecosystem and balance in the ocean, but they're also typically not interested in eating people. Good to know. Again, according to O-Search, the approximately 200,000 sharks are killed by humans every day. So talk about apex predators. In contrast, fewer than a dozen people die each year from shark bites, and the odds of a shark attack in reality for a shark attacks a person is 1 in 12 million. So those are interesting numbers to think about. But again, be wary of sharks off the beach this coming weekend and in the days ahead. And other this is actually very, very exciting news for East Hampton. It looks like Stony Brook, Southampton is finally going to be heading to East Hampton. The Independent this past week reported that after 2 years of planning, there are more concrete steps that have been taken to construct a 28,830 square foot Stony Brook, Southampton Hospital Emergency Medical Facility at the Panago Place ball fields. Now, East Hampton Town Supervisor Peter Van Scoyac says that the hospital has signed a 50-year lease with the town for the site, and now next steps are going to be happening, which include an environmental review process. The Architectural Review Board has to consider the site plan, and that's going to happen at its August 5th meeting. And after that, the town board will be tasked to consider a State Environmental Quality Review Act, also known as a SECRA Act. They're going to look at that document and then approve a zoning change, hopefully, for the 4.5-acre site. The zoning change has to be approved in order for this whole process to move on, as it is now currently zoned Parks Recreation, and it needs to be changed to Commercial Industrial. So if all goes according to plan, the town board could be voting on this proposal as early as September. So there's going to be a lot more news about that as we move along in the summer and head into fall, but something to be aware of, and hopefully that does happen so the people on the farthest part of our East End are able to get medical assistance when they can, a little quicker. Another issue that's come up really, really fast now since we are heading into August is how the schools are going to approach the fall semester. So local administrators are weighing the pros and cons of offering live teaching in some form. That's a little photo from East Hampton High School. So they're going to try to figure out how to strike a balance between classroom instruction and online learning. So it's a toughie. Decisions are expected to be made within the next few days. So we're going to have more on that next week and as we go on to into school. But in the meantime, it seems as if every single school district across the East End has reported spikes in registration. And most of them are citing that it's due mainly to New Yorkers who have relocated out here during the pandemic. So there is going to be an additional stress, whether it is still online learning or in-school learning or a combination of the two. So obviously more on that as we continue on. Here's an interesting thing. One place that is definitely going to be open for the summer is Bravo's Summer House. For those of you who are Bravo watchers or Summer House watchers, filming has already started. It's underway for season 5 at the Party House. But according to reports, the reality show has moved in the cast and the crew at an undisclosed location. So it's been filmed at the same place in Watermill for the past 3 years, but we think maybe, has not yet been confirmed, that filming is taking place someplace else. So some of the cast members and some of the people behind the scenes have talked about having new digs that are in order, need to be in order. So we'll see where that goes. The property where the show has been filmed is now on the market. So I'm not sure. We'll have more on that, I'm sure, as well as that develops. But Bravo did issue a statement saying that everyone who is associated with the show will be quarantined during the duration of filming. So we have that, I guess, to look forward to, not look forward to, I don't know. But we do know that everyone is safe in that house, getting ready for the next season. Now, one place that we do know that there will be no cameras is at Rachel Ray's house in Southampton. So she actually just sold that house. It's been on the market for a little while. It's sold for $3.25 million, and the deal was represented by Angela Boyer-Stump of Sotheby's on both sides of the deal. We have a picture here of Rachel, yes, in the house, which is a beautiful house, by the way. The celebrity chef and daytime talk show host, who I think probably all of us know, but she popularized the phrases yummo and Sammy. I don't know if she's going to be back around in Southampton anytime soon, but she's been reportedly spending time with her husband at their house in Lake Luzerne in New York since the pandemic started, roughly around the beginning of April. So lastly, on a more serious note, I want to give condolences to the family of Rick Murphy, who passed away earlier this month. Rick was co-executive editor of The Independent. He's been around the newspaper business here on the East End for a long, long time. And he's a highly regarded journalist. He passed away at the age of 70. He was twice nominated for the Pulitzer Award. And, on a personal note, he is a hell of a journalist, and he will certainly be missed. I also want to say while I'm being sincere, I also want to give a really hearty thanks to Jason Nauer, who not only is an amazing tech person, but he's basically the co-producer of the show, and I think he should be named that. He makes me look good. He helps me with everything, and especially since I am not all that tech savvy, he's really tried to bring me up to speed. So thank you, Jason. I'm so pleased and happy and proud to be working with you, and really appreciate everything you do. So stay tuned, because coming up next, we have a conversation about Authors Night with East Hampton Library Executive Director Dennis Fabiszak. You don't want to miss that. I'm Dawn Watson, and this is Right Now on the East End. And we're back. I'm Dawn Watson, and this is Right Now on the East End. Today, we're very happy to have a special guest with Dennis Fabiszak of the East Hampton Library. Dennis is the Executive Director of the library. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're here myself. We're going to talk today about Authors Night, which is a huge annual event. And full disclosure, I'm actually part of that event, have been for a few years on the Author Selection Committee. So just so everyone knows that. Mm-hmm. But I personally think it's such a fabulous event, and I wanted to bring you in here to talk about what's going on now and how it's going to change a little bit this year.
Sure. We've had to completely transition the event. This is our 16th year doing Authors Night. And with the pandemic, we obviously couldn't do an in-person event, so we've transitioned to a completely virtual event this year.
So for those of us who are maybe not locals, but maybe who are catching this on YouTube, who have picked up the LTV channel there, let's talk a little bit about what the event has been in the past and where we're pivoting for the pandemic. So first, like in broad strokes, in the last few years, what's the event like?
Sure. Authors Night normally takes place on a large field in Amagansett. We have 95 authors signing copies of their books. There's a big cocktail party going on. We have somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 guests at the event. That goes on for about 2.5 hours, and then many of the guests go off to dinners where there's a guest of honor author at each dinner at various estates.
Okay. And I know from years past, we were just talking off camera about some of the antics of the dinner parties, which are sometimes even more highly of interest, let's say, to the news that covered the event than sometimes even the event, not really the actual event. But we've gotten publicity. You've gotten publicity for the event for like People Magazine, USA Today, New York Times. Yeah. I still remember... what's that photographer's name with the blue jacket? I love him. He passed, but he did the style section. Bob Cunningham?
Yes.
Yes. I remember him kind of scuttling around. It's always kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
One thing, talking about the pandemic pivot, going from out from under the tent to what's going to happen now, there is one broad, bright star to this, and that is that we're not under the tent and I'm not sweating buckets. It is hot.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about lightning, rain.
Exactly.
Air conditioning. Yeah.
People getting Lyme disease walking from their car to the tent, which I don't think has ever happened, but it's always a worry. The event is usually this in August, like 8th, 9th, 10th. That's
We're always
Saturday.
the second Saturday of August, so that we don't compete with other local fundraising events.
Right, which is difficult to schedule.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about now how the event this year is different. So what's happening now?
So one of the really special parts of Authors Night is the conversation that goes on at the dinners, and the dinners are all fairly intimate. You know, the largest dinner has 40 or 50 people at it. Some of them are as small as 16 people in the past. And there's an author at the dinner. They're usually asked questions by an interviewer, and then the guests get to ask one-on-one questions. And you really get contact and conversation with the author that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
Right.
So we've decided to bring that to a virtual environment. We've put together 12 virtual conversations that are going to be hosted on Zoom, and guests can purchase tickets for one or more of the conversations. And again, they'll be intimate, where most of them will be around 20 guests. A few may have a few more. We've signed up some great interviewers for each of the authors. So the first half of each conversation will be an interview, and then we'll open it up for the guests to ask their own questions.
So in this Zoom call, is it going to be the author and the interviewer, obviously on separate screens because they're not going to be together because we're all socially distancing. We are socially distancing here as well. We are far apart in the studio, and we're taking special precautions to make sure we're not doing anything untoward. So they're going to be separate on the Zoom call, and then just like, you know, the way they go, is everyone on the call going to be shown as well?
Yeah, so I'll be on each call controlling the Zoom session and making sure everybody that's on are the people that are supposed to be on,
Right.
and we don't have anybody, you know, hacking in. We'll have a host for each, just like we used to have dinner hosts. We'll actually have a Zoom host, the interviewer and the author.
Wow, okay.
And then we'll have the guests will also be visible. We'll put it in spotlight view so that you see the author and the interviewer up on the screen full for their part of the interview. But then when we open it up to the guests, I'll allow them to take turns asking questions.
Cool. That's awesome. So how long will these virtual sessions last?
Each one is an hour.
Okay. So we got about half an hour of talk and then, or a little bit more, and then Q&A after.
And then Q&A. And then we're doing them on multiple days. Where in the past, Authors Night all happened on one afternoon and evening. This year we're doing it on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there are 3 different time slots for each of the days to make it easier for people to pick and choose which ones they want to attend.
Oh, that's awesome. And I know that these are going to be live.
Yeah.
Some might be recorded and shared again later, or is that correct?
Yeah, we're working hard to convince all of the authors to let us record them, because we really would like to make them available at some point on our YouTube page, maybe even run them on LTV.
Yeah.
And for some of the authors are willing to do that. Some of them are a little hesitant, but we're working hard to twist their arms so that we can get them all to be available.
Well, they might, after they see what the session looks like, if you can record it at least internally, they might be okay once they see that.
Yeah.
I think usually people only have problems with when they're worried they've made some sort of gaffe,
Right.
So I do want to tell briefly who the authors are who are going to be highlighted. Do you want me to say that, or do you want to go through the list?
If you want to go, you can list them off. That's
Okay, so we have Julie Andrews and Emma Walton Hamilton. Amazing. And they're going to be interviewed by our friend Bridget Leroy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Can't
That is
wait.
I know, it's going to be a fun one,
Yeah.
I'm sure. That's Friday, August 7th from 4 to 5 p.m. Also, Mike Birbiglia, and that's really cool. And he's going to be interviewed by Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
And that is Saturday, August 8th from 4 to 5 p.m. His book is called New One. I guess I should also say the book that Julie and Emma are going to talk about is Homework, a memoir of my Hollywood years. Then we've got Bob Caro, who's got another book out working, and he's going to be interviewed by another Authors Night perennial, Douglas Brinkley, right?
Yes. And Bob he's deep into writing the 5th Lyndon Johnson book. Wow. If you
That's
notice,
a huge book.
He's one of the few historians that hasn't been on the news in the last 6 months, because he really doesn't want to be involved in what's going on in politics today, because he's really so focused on the research he's doing and the writing he's doing. And
Well, it's a really deep dive that he's doing. So I understand, you can't have the distractions otherwise, then you just get stuck on the distractions, and somehow you're checking your Facebook and your email and not writing. Right. Cool. So Bob Caro is going to be Saturday, August 8th from 6 to 7. Also Harlan Coben, and he is going to talk about The Boy from the Woods, and he's also going to be interviewed by Bridget Leroy.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's Thursday, August 6th from 8 to 9 p.m. and Neil Gabler. Gabler, right? Gabler. Gabler. Sorry, Neil. He's going to talk about Catching the Wind, the Edward Kennedy and the Liberal Hour, 1932 to 1975, and he's interviewed by Bob Spitz.
Yeah.
Now, these are two new people, right?
They're new. Harlan Coben's also brand new. We've never had him. We've tried a number of years to get him to come, and finally, with it going virtual, we were able to get him.
That's amazing. Okay, I'm excited about that too. Also, somebody who another person I've interviewed, I know, and he is a riot, is Steve Madden.
Yeah.
So the famous shoe guy, and he's going to talk about his book, The Cobbler: How I Disrupted an Industry, Fell from Grace, and Came Back Stronger Than Ever. That is going to be probably a pretty wild ride.
That's going to be great, and a little tidbit that's not available online. There may be gift bags to the people that attend that event.
Nice. Nice.
Coming from the company. So
cool. I still own a pair of leopard skin ballet flats from Steve Madden that are like, I don't know, circa 1980 something, and I put them in a special little box. And anyway, he's interviewed by Stacey Griffith, and that's going to be Saturday, August 8th from 8 to 9. Allison Pataki, a returning favorite. She's going to come and talk about her new book, The Queen's Fortune, a novel of desire, Napoleon, and the dynasty that outlasted the empire. And that is with Ken Lepper. Awesome. Yep. Who is a big part of the library for forever.
Yeah.
Thursday, August 6th, 4 to 5. I feel like I'm dominating this with all of these great authors. I hope you don't mind.
We're also having Allison's father, former Governor George Pataki.
Yes, he's the next one.
I was really, really looking forward to having the event under the tent. I got them to sign on in January, and was going to have them seated next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Great to have a father and daughter, both authors, sitting next to each other at the event. But since that couldn't happen, we've convinced them to be part of the Zoom event together.
That's awesome.
So Ken is going to interview both of them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
so he's going to be the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we had it under the tent, he could practically be the tent pole. He is like 6'8" or something, isn't he? He's super tall. Nice also. So he's Thursday, August 6th, 4 to 5 p.m. as well. And the book that he's talking about is Beyond the Great Divide, How a Nation Became a Neighborhood. Okay, and I know we've got some new people who just have been confirmed. So this is like late-breaking news. Daryl Pinckney is going to come and speak about, well, come on Zoom. He's going to speak about Busted in New York and other essays. A lot of essays he's written about being black in America, basically, right?
Yeah, the current racial divide and things that are going on.
I'm excited
really
about that. Yeah. Sunday, August 9th from 6 to 7 p.m. And 2 more, I think, 3 more. Goodness. Do you Philip Rucker, you want to talk about him and his book?
Sure. Philip Rucker, we have tried to have him in the past also, and this is the first time we were able to get him. Sheila Rogers, who's the chair of the library, is actually hosting that event. And Lynn Scher, who we've had a number of times at the event, is going to be the guest interviewer for Philip. So we're really excited. He's on the news every day. We're fortunate he's taking some time out to participate in our event.
That's amazing.
But you'll be able to ask him his own questions when he's normally the one asking people questions. We're excited.
And he's going to be talking about his book, A Very Stable Genius, Donald J. Trump's Testing of America. So that is August 6th, 8 to 9. I'm sure that's going to be another big... All of these people are huge. Like, this is like the A-list of the A-list of Authors Night.
Yes, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. Rounding it out, we have J. Courtney Sullivan, and she's going to talk about Friends and Strangers, a novel, and she's going to be interviewed by Zibby Owens.
Yeah, so Zibby has been a sponsor in the past with our podcast, Moms Who Don't Have Time to Read.
Yeah, I remember
She's done a huge amount of interviews, and she actually was able to reach out to Jay Courtney and get her involved. She's a New York Times bestselling author. We haven't had her before. It's going to be really, really interesting conversation.
This is a great mix of people.
Yeah.
Great mix. So she's going to be Thursday, August 6th from 6 to 7 p.m. And I think we got, oh my goodness, 2 more. Eric K. Washington. And he's going to talk about Boss of the Grips, the life of James H. Williams, and the Red Caps of... Oh, I know that book, and the Red Caps of Grand Central Terminal.
Yeah, so Eric K. Washington is a historian, and he's written a really wonderful book. We haven't had him at the event before also, so we're really interested in getting him involved. And we're also going to look at maybe getting him involved in our Long Island collection and some things we're doing at the library after the event.
Good. And when we're done with this, we'll talk about where you can find out information on all of these things too.
Sure.
Eric's talk is Friday, August 7th from 6 to 7 p.m. And then we're going to finish up with a perennial Authors Night attendee and fabulous fabulous interviewee, Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth K. Westheimer is going to come talk about Sex for Dummies, Roller Coaster Grandma, and Heavenly Sex. These are 3 of her books. And she's going to be interviewed by Patty Kenner, who is also part of this event, Entrenched.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Sunday, August 9th, 4 to 5. Tell us more about that.
Patty Kenner and I are going to share the interview with Dr. Ruth.
Get
She's promised
ready.
me she won't embarrass me too much on Zoom.
Get ready.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
She's wonderful. She just turned 92.
Yeah, she's a hoot.
She actually has 4 books in print right now that she wants to talk about all at the same time. And, she's one of the hardest working authors that we have
Yeah.
and that I've ever met. She's amazing.
She's a real iconoclast, too. I think she started talking about sex when nobody else would.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I can't believe we're almost out of time. This is crazy. But I do want to talk about a few things that I know are important to you and to me. Tell me about what's happening with books. You usually sell books during the event, but this year it's going to be a little different because of the virtual aspect.
Yeah, so we decided not to do books. Normally the publishers donate all of the books at Authors Night, which is around 7,000 or 8,000 books.
It's a
and
lot
then the
of
library
box
sells
lifting,
them and
right.
we make money off of the books.
Right.
But with shipping being so crazy in the pandemic, we decided logistically it would be difficult to get the books to all of the guests. And we also realized that a lot of the local bookstores are hurting.
Yeah.
We have Bookhampton right down the street from the library. And we decided it would be better to not do books with the event and just encourage all of the guests to go to Bookhampton or whatever local bookstore is their favorite and purchase the book from them. And,
Cool.
That it's just the time that everybody needs help.
Yeah.
And if our event can help the bookstores out, all the better.
Well, this is, I think, one of the things that might have a real positive impact from the pandemic is that we are finding ways to pivot and maybe doing things a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then let me see, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about how we can purchase tickets to this event.
Sure.
So give us the site.
The site is www.authorsnight.org. We also have a large mailing list. We're sending out email blasts about it. But all of the authors are listed on the website, and you can click through, and we're selling tickets this year through Eventbrite.
Okay.
So everything is going fairly well. Some of them are already really close to selling out.
Well, that's a big thing we want to
so
say
that's
because
something that's important.
seats are limited.
Seats are
So,
really
I mean, I
limited.
know it's a virtual event, but seats are limited. So buy your tickets now. I've been closed out of some of these things in years past, and I'm on the committee.
Yeah,
Right? So you got to buy the tickets now. Buy them now.
Yep.
Authorsnight.org.
And one more thing.
Yes.
For the first time ever, we're going to comp some high school students. So we're going to offer a limited number of seats to high school students for free to attend each of these conversations where we haven't had high school students attend any of the dinners in the past.
Only hauling books, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since this is virtual, we thought it would be great to include some high school students in each of the events so they can email me. It's just dennis@easthamptonlibrary.org. Let me know what they're interested in and why. And I'll be assigning some of them seats at these events.
That's amazing. It's important that we continue to cultivate readership from an early age. Reading is fundamental, as we all know, and I think this is a great way to involve even more of the community. So email dennis@easthamptonlibrary.org. If you want to buy tickets, go to authorsnight.org. This is going to be rebroadcast, I think, on the library site somewhere.
Yep, absolutely.
Obviously, we'll live on here in LTV and YouTube. I will be putting it on social media. Thank you so much for coming, Dennis.
Thank
This has
you.
been a treat.
Thanks.